You know what's so crazy to me is that every time that I'm going through like a dark time or a tough time, like what the words that come to me in that moment are always like, who's gonna be there for you? Like, no one's gonna be there for you in those moments. They can't. That's only between you and God. Like, you have to go through that. And that's something that's been on my mind lately is you're going to have to go through different states of consciousness and allow that. Like, that's the actual growth. If you could really understand that, whatever it is that you desire, and you're on the path to its realization, whether it be a relationship, whether it be, the physique that you want, or the business, or the money, you're going to have to go through shifts in your consciousness, and you're going to have to be at peace with parts of yourself in those moments of adversity, feeling however you're going to feel in those moments. Like, that is the true test. If you can go through those moments and not run to the vices, not cling to the comforts, not cave in those moments, because your self-talk and your actions during times of adversity will determine who you are and who you become. It's in those times of adversity where you're going to have to say to yourself, nah, I'm going to go through this. I'm going to feel however I'm going to feel, and I'm going to feel it fully right now. And allow it to come over me, and allow it to pass through me. And I'm just going to be here, still through it all, and watch how we come out of this. I mean, that's really what it takes. The thing is that it's actually so simple. I think that there's so much of the majority, like there's so many people that we look to that are not facing that adversity. So we think that it's so difficult. But what if everyone was actually going through, like, what if everyone was actually in shape? You wouldn't think that being in shape would be that hard. But we have such a large amount of people that are not striving, that are not, succeeding, that are not persisting, through adversity. They're engaging in vices. They're engaging in, avoiding that adversity at all costs and distracting themselves with all the noise and all the nonsense that, we think, like, we've developed this belief that it's so difficult to attain success. It's like, really, is it that difficult? Is it really that difficult? Or is it that we have just a massive population that are so weak and so addicted to the comforts? Like, really? I think that that's what it is. Because I don't think that this is really that difficult. I think this is natural. I think it's actually natural to be successful. I think it's actually natural to be in shape. I think it's actually natural to have the relationship that you desire. Like, can we start looking at it like that? If you just say, this is what I want, and you feel as though you've already received it, and then you persist through everything that you have to go through, you're going to realize it. I think what's happening is that, we're looking to others to see, where they're at with it. And so many people have given up because they weren't willing to face the adversities in order to grow and mold them into the version of them that would have what they desire, that we think that it's like unattainable, that we think that it's like a miracle if someone's successful in any area. And it's like, really, that should be that should be the norm. We're just looking at a bunch of people that quit. Like, if you really think about it. But to get back to the original point, you're going to have to go through adversity, and in those dark moments, that's the greatest time of your life. You think that the greatest times of your life are going to be the times that you're at the highest points, but you'll find that it really wasn't ever about any of that. When you reach those levels, you're going to realize that it wasn't like, yeah, it's great to realize, what you've desired for so long, but you'll realize that it wasn't really even about that. It was about who you became in the process and how you overcame yourself in that process. I think that if you think that you're going to get to this point where you can just kick your feet up and everything's good and you're done and life is smooth and everything's already everything's already handled. If there's no adversity in your life, you're going to get to a place where you're going to create it in your own relationships, in your own life, in not good ways. This is why people seek, vices. This is why people seek partying or lust or, any of these things outside of them, is because they're lacking something within them. But you have to understand that true thing that you are seeking is already within you. What you are really seeking is to become the fullest version of you that you are capable of being. It's not about anything on the outside. If you think it's about the things on the outside, you're going to be miserably disappointed and you're going to be left empty, because this life is about you developing yourself from within and being all that you are capable of being. That's the greatest life that you can possibly live. So, to get back to the original point, your greatest moments in life will come from the darkest moments. I'm telling you, it's harsh. I went through a breakup. I went through financial issues. I went through health issues. If you follow me on Instagram at Michael Vincent Mindset, you're aware of, what's taking place over the last year and a half. And it's just, that is what created this version of me today. And I wouldn't be who I am today without all of those adversities. And that's the thing, is that people want to avoid those at all costs, but they don't realize that that's the actual thing that has to happen in order for them to become the version of them that they want to be. Without that adversity, you don't grow. Without that adversity, you don't change. Without that adversity, you don't really realize how great you have it. So if you're going through shit, start embracing it, start loving it, start leaning into the solitude, start leaning into the discipline, do the daily habits that I teach, which is really the foundation of creating the best version of yourself and actually walking with God and fulfilling the purpose that you have in this life. Because I'm telling you right now, there's nothing else for you. There's nothing else other than you fulfilling the purpose that you have in this life. That's the only reason why you are here.